come in, let me read you the one-line ruling that we have so far. The US Supreme Court rules against TikTok's challenge to that law that would force a sale or a ban applying in the United States, and that ban comes into effect on Sunday. They heard the representations from TikTok. We were waiting for that judgment. It has just come. So let's head to our North America correspondent, Nomia Iqbal, who's there in Washington. And Nomia,
welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. Today we're going to discuss TikTok. TikTok is no longer, it is done. Finamente, put a fork in it. It's being banned. Now, before I get into today's lecture or today's discussion, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video, tell a friend to tell a friend, hit the AirTech EMF protector. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. Protect yourself against electric, magnetic frequency that can be harmful. Now, let's discuss.
tell us more.
Yes, so it's not a surprising ruling. The US Supreme Court had indicated that it was likely to uphold this legislation. Now, it was signed by President Biden last year, and it was a bipartisan law. So it was as bipartisan as you can get when it comes to modern day Washington. And as you mentioned there, if it will go into effect on Sunday. Now, just to sort of, say, what does a ban mean? So if you have TikTok, it doesn't mean you're suddenly going to be arrested from Sunday if you're using it. If you already have TikTok.
Man, we kind of know what a ban means. Because TikTok, to me, I like TikTok, right? And let me know in the comments how TikTok was beneficial to you. I thought TikTok was better than the news stations. You had a lot of people that you can just scroll, get 15, 20 minute, 1 minute to 5 second clips, and then you can create your own conclusion, right? To me, when things happened all over the world, TikTok actually brought everything together. Now, the big problem that they were stating is that the Privacy Act and how China has our data. But when you think about it, I mean, all databases have been breached. Google have been breached. All databases have been breached. So I don't really get that. Did y'all know a fun fact? Now, before I get into the fun fact, people used to use TikTok as far as a shop. So a lot of people made a lot of money, and I feel for those people. So now I think they're on another platform called Flip. Then we have something called Red Note. Now, Red Note, I don't really like Red Note. It's definitely based in China. And as far as it being user-friendly, no. TikTok also made something called Lemon. Right, Lemon is the next place to go. It's actually a company that TikTok actually owns, so it's more user friendly than Red Note to me. Although Red Note moved all the way up to like number 1 or 2 on the App Store, right? But as far as navigation and it being user friendly, I don't like. Let me know if you guys enjoy Red Note. Now, Flip, definitely for the entrepreneurs. You make your products, you can sell it there. It seems easy to use. It's more user friendly. Things are actually in English. Red Note, I don't understand. I don't speak Mandarin. I don't understand nothing Red Note is saying. I have to guess, but I don't mind playing the game, right? Let me know what platform you guys are actually transitioning to and why. Also, I begin to think, okay, don't ever let any crisis go to waste, right? Which companies will benefit off of TikTok being banned? So I thought about it and I said Meta, which is Facebook, right? More people are going to go on there. Facebook also owns Instagram, so Instagram by default. YouTube, I like YouTube. I'm always on YouTube. So YouTube benefits, more traffic. Snap. Now, I haven't been on Snap in a while. I don't even know if Snap still exists, but it still will bring traffic. And is Snap a dating app? I know Instagram is definitely designed to be a dating app, but is Snap a dating app? I'm not sure because I don't be on there, but let me know. Keep me up to date with what's going on Snap and how TikTok is actually affecting you, your family, your friends. kind of feel a little bit quiet now. You can't scroll as much as you want. But let's talk about the cycle of people not being able to access TikTok. I think it does something to the psyche because anything can be addictive, right? Which means that any behavior can be addictive. You could scroll for 15, 20 minutes every day on the day, every day, give it about 30 days, you're programmed, you're letting off dopamines that it's actually boosting your ego, keeping you engaged, making you happy, with fake hormones release. Same thing that happens when you hit the like button. It's the same chemical reaction, right? It's a dosage. So I think some people will be affected by this, and I don't know if they have anything in place for it, right? So let's continue.
As a user, remember there's 170 million people in this country who use TikTok. The app will not be available to you on these platforms like Apple and Google and so forth. So you won't be able to update it, or any of the kind of security updates. The app can get buggy and what have you. You won't be able to update it, and eventually, the view is that it probably could get killed off. If you haven't got TikTok, then it won't be available to you to download. And basically, the heart of the battle has been this whole argument about free speech and, whether or not this is...
Talking about free speech, I forgot to mention Twitter, or also known as X, right? But I'm going to do a segment on Elon Musk, and, people symbolize him as being like the Tony Stark, the ingenious person of this era, XYZ. But I'm not really sure about his intentions, because I thought about it the other day and I said, well, he has government army contracts. Okay. Most of his riches come from the government. Okay. He say that it's freedom of speech, but yet to a certain degree. I believe something happened in Turkey and he had to cancel that. So is it really freedom of speech, or what are we walking into? That's what I want to know. Because I think privacy in the near future, that's going to be the thing. I think the world coming up, let's just say about 5 to 10 years from now. Y'all remember when y'all was in school, elementary school, middle school, you couldn't access the computer, or you could access the computer, but they had the internet block. We had to create ingenious ways in order to navigate around the internet, right? And the human brain generally is going to do things like that. We always going to find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. But I think that the internet itself will be regulated. If you look at what's going on and you read the global trend to 2030 to 2040, that's why I kind of know what's ahead, because I glance over those documents quite often, right? And try to put yourself in the position to make money off of those documents, because they're letting you know what's going on. In the near future, by 2030, in order to access the internet, you're going to have to use some form of digital ID, meaning that as soon as you access the internet, they know where you're going, who you're talking to. Messages can't be encrypted, which means that we got to fight for our privacy. We have to fight for our privacy. Just as much as you have to fight for your freedom of speech, you also have to fight for the right to have conversation encrypted, private. You have to fight for your privacy, or else we're going to be somewhat like we're going to have a social credit score. So I'm going to do a whole episode on Elon Musk and his intention. Now, his inventions are actually great, but I think it's a conflict of interest when I think about it. Because without the government, where would he be? And you can't tell them no, and this, that, and the third, else they cut you off. So something just isn't adding up as it should be. And I always wonder why we always associated him to be, and I know I'm getting off topic a little bit, but just follow me for a second. We always associated him with being the Tony Starks, right? Iron Man. Then I thought about it and I said, movies are really powerful, because didn't he feature in Iron Man? So I said, aha, that's the symbolism right there. I know I wasn't tripping. I seen him come across the screen. And look what's happening in reality as we speak. So I must question his intentions, because he's showing you what his left hand is doing, but I don't really know what his right hand is doing. But as I digress, let's continue. TikTok.
This is TikTok's argument, this should be allowed. But lawmakers say this is about national security.
Okay.
Now, it's worth mentioning that President Biden has left it to Donald Trump's administration to implement this law. But Donald Trump, who was the first person to actually talk about wanting to ban TikTok, has now done a U-turn on it because it was very successful for him in the presidential campaign. And he has said that he wants to save TikTok. Right. Exactly how he'll do that, we don't know.
Yes, and his national security advisor, or the incoming...
And I look at it like this. I meant to say this fun fact. Let me put it all back together. Now, I'm going to give you a fun fact. Did y'all know on Black Friday, Twitter in 24 hours made $100 million? Let me repeat. On Black Friday, TikTok made $100 million. Now, it's all... A lot of people were selling things on the platform, so I'm sure people made money from it. But they made $100 million. So I see why they want to sit down with Trump, because Trump, at the end of the day, a businessman. So you're like, well, damn, you said you made $100 million in 24 hours? Let me know how. I maybe want to be a part of it. So I don't know how long is this going to be banned for, or they got to wait until regulation change, that they hand over the keys to the White House. So let's just see. Also, can we access it using a VPN? All my people that's tech savvy, is it a way to access it using a VPN? Let me know, because I might try to figure that out. Let me give y'all an update on that one. Let's continue.
Advisor has already indicated that the president-elect is looking at ways perhaps around the ban. As you say, they were anticipating the Supreme Court would go this way. As you say, Donald Trump has flip-flopped. He supported a ban, then he used it so successfully in his re-election. He's even got the TikTok boss apparently invited to the inauguration on Monday. So do we know any of the details when those advisors and officials say he's looking at ways to work around this, how they would work around this?
Well, they've not given us any details yet. And yes, he does have the CEO of TikTok at his inauguration, which gives you a sense of, just how close he is with TikTok and wanting to save it. But in terms of how he does it, so could he repeal the law? Not really. It's really hard to do that because, as I mentioned, it was a bipartisan law. Could he potentially not enforce the law? So his incoming Attorney General, Pam Bondi, could he say to her, don't enforce the law? If it appears on these platforms and people still download it, just effectively allow the law to become redundant. The problem with that, I guess, would be that what he'd be saying to the people that own these platforms is that we won't enforce the law, and they would have to take his word for it, which might be quite difficult given that Donald Trump is a pretty mercurial person, and they would want guarantees that they weren't going to be fined in any way. But he has said that he wants to find ways to save it.
Right.
Ultimately, what they want is to sell TikTok off to a US company. But TikTok has said that they won't do that. I mean, there's certainly a lot of...
That's another thing going around, too, stating that they plan on... A lot of people want to bid on TikTok. They're actually asking Elon Musk to buy TikTok, but I think that's too much power for one person. He already owns X. Well, he already owns X, which is also known as Twitter. In the springtime, he'll be making something called X Pay. X will go as far as a one-stop shop. It's like they have something in China where everyone goes and they do everything on this one application, right? And that's what Elon, to me, is trying to do with X. X payment. He's going to have his own currency. He's going to collect all the data. Now, ask yourself this. I keep on pivoting it back to Elon Musk because I've just been thinking about this. If he have access to all the data or the data, right? He also have robots coming out as well. Do you know you have to input a form of data, right? What if he's using that, the X platform, to collect all and every data and make it the everything app? Ask yourself that. That's the way that I see it. If I'm following what's going on and I say, well, he create different pieces, right? It's like a robot. He creates different pieces, and yeah, it looks different over here. It looks one way over here, another way over here. But when you put it together, it's a puzzle. Robots. That's the mainframe. That's the outerwear. Cool. Data. Now he need Intel. Cool. X. Right? Cool. After that, how does these robots have connection between all of those things? Oh, Starlink. Ooh, satellites. Okay, cool. After the satellites, what about air travel? Okay, boom. Y'all got to remember, he come from the PayPal group. The PayPal group, if y'all do your history on the PayPal group, it will waken most of you guys up. See, I like to dive deep into something, right? I go down the rabbit hole all the time, and it always leads to either you're good or you have good intentions or you have wicked intentions. But the choice has always been yours, right? But some don't have a choice. If they want to keep on being in a position and getting the notoriety that they need, you really don't have a choice. But let's continue. I just wanted to make that connection, and I want you guys to think about these things. Let's go.
The buyers in the US, that wouldn't be a problem to sell it off, but TikTok has said that they do not want to do that.
Right.
So that could be one of the options. But it's worth mentioning, Matthew, that this is hugely controversial. I remember last year there were lots of protests outside the White House when the law was signed, and spoke to a lot of content creators who said, it's not just an app where I go on and, watch music videos or have fun. For many Americans, it's where they have their businesses. It's their livelihood. It's how they make money.
Right.
For a lot of young people, it's how they get their news. So it is something that is deeply cultural now in this country, and it's hugely controversial to even ban.
Pause. And that's another thing. Like I say, we use TikTok to get our news and to get the real news. We don't watch CNN, BBC, and MSNBC, all of these things. All those legacy medias, it can't be trusted, obviously. So we as people have migrated to say, hey, let me see what the people have to say about this. The people know best. If we give you guys our money, our taxpaying dollars, for you to feed us misinformation, it's a lot of hypocrisy in that. Let me know if you agree.
Which is presumably why Donald Trump wants to try and save it.
Now, separately, although the president-elect is so involved in this story, and of course, China is the backdrop to everything that we are talking about with TikTok. News in the last, 45 minutes that Donald Trump has had a phone call with President Xi. Tell me more about that.
He has, and he put out on his Truth Social media platform that they talked about a lot of things, including TikTok. The Chinese president, Xi Jinping, also spoke a while ago. He said that they both hoped for a positive start to Chinese-US relations during the new term. And both men placed great importance on interactions. They said that they want to promote greater progress in China-US relations. I mean, TikTok is definitely going to be one of those issues that they will be talking about. As I mentioned before, lawmakers, and many of them are Republicans who are very loyal to Donald Trump, want TikTok banned. They believe that China, because it owns the algorithm, it cannot be trusted, that it's a national security issue. They're using the app to spy on Americans, that also they're using it to promote Chinese propaganda.
I don't really think that they're not saying that they're not using the app, but like I say, all database has been breached, right? And 2025, look for a lot of cyber attacks anyway. They've been attacking the banks. They've been attacking everywhere. So it's more than just China. You got Israel. You got All you got to think about it. The United States go around and bully the world. You don't think that they are banding together like the BRIC nation in order to pay us for what we have done? It's just part of the game. It's modern day warfare, right? Cyber attacks will be more popular in 2025. Mark my words. That's why it's good to protect your assets and your digital assets and your information the best way you know how. But a lot of people already have your information. So what you can't control, don't even worry about.
There's no hard evidence that's been shown regarding that, but that is the concern. Let me also add that Donald Trump has invited Xi Jinping to his inauguration. I don't think he's taken up that invite, but I understand that he will be sending an envoy instead to the inauguration. So they will, as I say, TikTok will be one of those big issues that I'm sure that they will talk about. Exactly how Donald Trump plans to resolve it, we just don't know yet.
Well, he's a businessman. He has one of his special abilities is called the art of the deal, right? At the end of the day, he know how to make a deal. He not trying to go to war with you. He's not trying to be so difficult. He's trying to compromise. That's one reason why I kind of say, he needs to be the person in that position, because we need people that's deal makers. We don't need the American to be exercising their strength and messing everything up. We don't need that. Obviously, we've been doing that for years, and does it really work? To a certain degree. Maybe for a certain group of people, but for the majority, the 99.9%, it really doesn't, right? But on that note, I wanted to explain and let you guys know TikTok is banned. Let me know how you feel about it. Are you feeling a little bit strange that you can't access your same dopamine hits as far as knowing what's going on in the world? And like it was a connective app, right? We're very connective. We got used to it. So let's see what Trump is going to do about it. And if you even want Trump to do something about it, let me know, and let me know how you plan on navigating through and to other apps as well. On that note, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend to tell a friend. This is the beginning. This is not the end. Another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. On that note, peace, blessings, and love, and remember, positivity over negativity